Hey, it's the Right Rican, and today I'm going to talk about kind of hate crimes, but I'm going to kind of link both. I'm going to link them both together. It's talking about the increase in. There's been some news about the increase in Asian hate crimes. Well, they're not necessarily calling them hate crimes, but if the shoe fits, the same thing. How also anti-Semitic attacks have increased, especially in New York. And I'm gonna I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you one article in particular. There's one here I'm going to share with you from, is it NBC News? Let's see. Let's go here. Violence against Asian Americans and why hate crime. Here's why you have to why hate crime should be used carefully. Social media posts have conflated violence against people who are Asian with hate crimes against the community at large, tying crimes to pandemic racism, which it's understandable. Well, I don't want to say it's understandable, but I mean, it's understandable. It makes sense that, um, that since COVID originated in China, that there would be um, racism towards Asian people because people are stupid and can't tell the difference between a Korean, a Japanese, and a, a Korean, Japanese, and a Chinese person. They can't. I mean, people don't even know that's how many different uh, dialects of Chinese there are in China, let alone that the different countries they are in Asia. But so here, let's go with the article. Yeah, I could go into tangent sometimes. As the recent wave of attacks on older Asians prompts call for action activism, expert urge the use of precise and accurate language in discussing the violence. Robberies and assaults in several big city Chinatowns have led to significant media coverage and outcry from activists. Hasn't been that significant of media coverage, just mainly, in the cities where it's happening. Um, and because I'm so close to New York, um, I see that because here goes spikes in hate crimes, citing an astronomical increase, but the figure they refer to specifically reflects New York City and New York police data obtained by NBC Asia in America, which showed that three anti-Asian crimes in 2019 and 28 last year. Yes, that's an astronomical climb. And no hate crimes have been reported so far this year. Other sources refer to 18 incidents this year involving Asian Americans in Alameda County, California. I'm going to keep going because some outlet, just because I don't want to read every single sentence, some outlets have reported almost 3,000 hate crimes during the pandemic. And the reporting forum from the Stop AAPI Hate Crimes, almost 2,800 reported. Regardless, Asian Americans have every right to their fear and anger at this time, said Michael Dyson, a race and religion scholar at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. We have to acknowledge their pain. The pain, Asian brothers and sisters can no longer be demanded to be quiet as the price they have to pay for acceptance in the broader community of American ethnicities. Why aren't Asians normally accepted so easily? Because they're the anomaly when it comes to minorities. They actually their median income is higher than that of white America, so they don't fit into that quote unquote oppressed category. While anti-Asian, here goes. This is where I want to talk about because this is the key thing on why the story is not bigger. While anti-Asian sentiment has risen remarkably during the coronavirus pandemics, experts they said both defendants and victims deserve a fair rather than a public trial, no matter what race they may be. They emphasize that that's particularly important if suspects are of color in the context of a justice system that hasn't been proven to be colorblind. So there it goes. There's there's the key sentence right there. It's the fact that why isn't it public? Why isn't it being stressed more in the news? Because the majority of the perpetrators are people of color, whether they be black or Hispanic. They're the ones that are increasing the hate crimes. So they like to keep it vague so they could go ahead and blame here. Now I'm going to switch it over because here's the funny thing. So since they want to try to keep it vague and try to not to show that the majority of the attacks are people of color, they keep it vague for this particular reason. Let me move my picture here. Activists protest white supremacy after black man arrested for attack on Asian man in San Francisco. Yes, a black man attacked an Asian man, and the protest was about white supremacy. Really? White supremacy, you know, but meanwhile, people of color, like I said, here's from the article itself. You could tell that this is why they're phrasing it that way. It's because it's the price statement. No, here it goes, right here, where it goes. They emphasize that's particularly important if suspects are of color. And what did they do? They they did a protest against white supremacy after a black man attack. And if you, just in case, like I said, I wanted to link this to that the increase in anti-Semitic attacks against Jews, especially in New York. Here is I did a just from the past year a search of black men attacked. Attach. You see me there. It shouldn't change much. So here you could see all. Well, it goes into the history, but I did kind of change it a little bit. But here we go. So here's an article: anti-Semitic black attackers shouting, "You effing Jew, beat Jewish man in Brooklyn." And it goes, persistent anti-Semitic attacks in Brooklyn mirror national rise in incidents. This is all stuff from last year, but I wanted to tie it into the stuff that's going on with the Asians and how when the media, this is my critique of the media, my critic of the media all the time. They're trying to sell us something, and when you got to see what their agenda is because they're not biased. Like I said, I have my bias, but I admit my bias. I know where my biases lie. But the mainstream media, they pretend to be objective when they're not. And here's a case, like I said, this is NBC News article, and they're talking about, like I said, they're talking about being careful about the suspects of color, and it should still be a hate crime. It should not matter if you attack a person. This is why. Well, this is why I'm against the hate law crimes as it is. They should be unconstitutional. A crime is a crime, but if you're going to deem a hate crime based on race, religion, and ideology, well, they don't put ideology, but that's where I think if you're gonna do this with hate crimes, then if it's a black person attacking a white person and they just attack them because they're white, that should be a hate crime. Same thing if it's a white man attacking a black person, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. If you're attacking that person because of their race or skin color or ethnicity, then it should be a hate crime. None of this whole power dynamics. Because right now, that whole power dynamics is obviously shifting because look at everything that's going on. But so we need to see this and go, okay, where do we go from here? And we have to push the media outlets, stop feeding them when they give us these false narratives. But that's the whole problem. They'll push like what happened in Kenosha with the guy obviously had a weapon. They pretended like he didn't, and the media was like, "Oh, another unarmed black man shot," and it's like, No, and look at the, instead of them waiting for the facts to come out, they inflame the situation. And right now, but when it's a person of color attacking an Asian person or attacking a Jewish person, now it's, oh, okay, well, it's a person of color. Let's be careful about calling it a hate crime. No, either you're going to call it a hate crime, or we need to get rid of this hate crime legislation. One or the other, but it can't be either or. It has to be, you're going to use it the standard across the board, or you need to get rid of the law. Plain and simple. That's it. So, well, that's my take for the day. I just wanted to put that out there because I think it's important to see. Um, and as a person of color, as a Latino myself, who happens to love Asian cultures, I'm a huge fan of the food, uh, the culture, the anime. Right now, I started watching a show on Netflix about the Age of Samurai, which I highly recommend, especially if you're a video game person and you used to play Samurai Warriors. You're gonna recognize the names, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so as a person of color, we need to. I went on my tangents. We need to look into our communities, and we need to, protect our fellow. Forget about just our fellow minorities. You need to protect your fellow man. Period. If you see a bunch of your friends harassing a white person, or harassing a Jewish person, or harassing an Asian person, black person, for whatever reason, step up. Be, um, no, to use a Jewish word, be a mensch, and um, help that person out. Tell your people, yo, back off. That's not how we should be doing things. And as I said, it shouldn't matter whether whatever your skin color is, whatever your ethnicity is. You know, so yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoy my content. Please like and subscribe. Leave me some comments. I appreciate the comments, so I could um, change things up. Uh, because even though I'm talking about stuff that I like to talk about, you know, um, you people watching my videos, it's also about you guys. If there's a subject you guys want me to touch, bring it up. Shoot me an email, the right Rican at Gmail. So, oh well, have a good one, folks.